Oh man. The first Pokémon movie was so mind-bendingly awful that I really did not relish the chance of watching another one. Once again, as I sat down to watch this, I reflected on how lucky I was to be able to fill up a schedule of 29 movies and only use Pokémon films twice. That being said, I prepared myself for possible brain suicide upon watching another feature-length monstrosity from 4Kids Entertainment, and considering that sequels are usually the victims of the law of diminishing returns, I wondered to myself, can Pokémon 2000 actually be worse? So, after all that, can you believe that this movie isn't horrible? Yeah. It's not exactly something I'd willingly watch again, but if it came on TV, I would merely change the channel rather than shrieking in terror and throwing a large, heavy object through the screen. So, at least there's that. Pokémon 2000 is a mess, just like the first one. The plot is a loose conglomeration of weak concepts, most of which don't even work, and a lot of the plot threads remain unresolved at the end of the film. The film is also full of cookie-cutter characters with one-note personalities, most of whom are so forgettable that I can't remember their names. The dumb idiot and the stupid bitch from the first movie are back, but the horny idiot is mostly gone, relegated to a background cameo. Instead, there's a few new characters who mostly exist just to move the story along. Very few of them having any real value as characters. But that being said, the movie is a lot more entertaining than the original. Even though this movie doesn't deal with a villain out to destroy the world, the stakes do seem a lot higher, and the pacing in the movie is a lot better, with it starting out slower and then gaining until a climax, just like any simple story should. The characters are less irritating, though the Team Rocket voice actors still make me want to jam cheese graters into my ears. The biggest improvement is the visuals. The first film looked like nothing more than a stretched-out episode of the show, with simply drawn characters and extremely choppy animation. In this case, there's heavy use of computer effects to make the animation a lot smoother, and a lot of the new characters that are introduced are drawn better, and the older characters are at least shaded. The animation itself still stutters along at times, but for the most part it's a lot smoother. This time, the plot starts with some random guy in a floating fortress who collects Pokémon. He's out to collect 3 legendary Pokémon, giant birds that represent fire, ice, and lightning. After collecting all 3, this is supposed to flush out an extremely rare Pokémon called Lugia, which he wants to add to his collection. The protagonists wind up on an island nearby, where some girl bats her eyes at the stupid idiot and convinces him to go on a journey to retrieve some balls for their local ceremony. This would be dangerous under good circumstances, but the floating fortress guy capturing Pokémon has destabilized the entire region. Plus, Team Rocket is there just generally being assholes. What's weird is the movie really doesn't have a villain. The Collector is not overly sinister, just misguided. The main characters chastise him for seeing Pokémon as being nothing more than something to collect, though once again I find that pretty rich considering the tagline of the series is "Gotta catch 'em all." But for the most part, he's only looking to add pieces to his collection, not cause destruction. The 3 legendary Pokémon are all at war with each other, though at times it almost seems like they're working together just to blow shit up. Lugia shows up and tries to calm everybody down, but he gets his ass kicked, so he needs the dumb idiot, and oddly enough, the douche-tards in Team Rocket to help him. In the end, everything pretty much goes back to normal. One thing that I appreciated is that the stupid idiot's mother is a character, and actually seems worried that her son, and angry at him for getting himself into dangerous situations. As I said in my review of the first movie, Pokémon is in a world where unsupervised 10-year-olds capture dangerous wild animals and force them to fight each other for their own personal glory. So it's nice to see that adult characters do exist and that they do give a rat's ass about their kids. The action scenes are pretty well done, and at least it will give the kids, that's the movie's target audience, some excitement. Unlike the first film with its handful of sluggish Pokémon battles and mostly characters just yelling at each other. So pretty much Pokémon 2000 is a vastly superior movie to the first one. But that isn't saying much. It's a pretty average children's anime that doesn't break any new ground, and there's really nothing in there for the adults dragged along to it, even when it breaks the fourth wall and is self-referential. But as dull as the whole thing is, I have to at least be impressed that it seems that they put some effort into it this time around. I'm going to give it a 5 out of a possible 10.